Hey everybody, it's me, Undead Viking. We're here to talk to you about this game. It's called Steamcraft. Steamcraft is a game that is obviously, as you probably guessed, a steampunk-themed game. It is a deck-building game for 2 to 4 people, where each person is an executive in a corporation that is new to a region, and you're going to be starting to mine that region for all the resources and power you possibly can get. And obviously the other people they're executives for different corporations, and they're trying to do the exact same thing. So you'll be fighting over different employees, hiring them, building different buildings, hiring different units, and also attacking each other and trying to wipe each other off the map. So it kind of reminded me a little bit of like Shadowrun, if you will. The whole premise of big giant evil corporations going to battle against one another is very Shadowrun-esque, if you will. But regardless, the theme is steampunk, and I know that's going to appeal to a lot of people. I do dig the steampunk theme. I think it's kind of neat. So it is a deck builder, so I'm going to show you how to play. If you've played deck building games, this is going to be somewhat familiar to you. But I'm going to show you, regardless, I'm going to show you how to play, and then we're going to come back here and I'm going to tell you more about Steamcraft. Alright, awesome. Let's do this. Alright, this is the setup for Steamcraft. If you have played a deck builder, you're going to be really familiar with how this one plays, but that does not mean that it is a big samey kind of game or anything like that. It just has the basic mechanism of the deck builder where you're drawing cards, you play those cards, then you put those in your discard pile and you draw up new cards. And along the way, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be adding these different cards from the tableau in front of you, and then building up your deck, and so you can kind of gain power. The purpose of this game to win is you are trying to collect steam, which is these little cubes here. The yellow, or I'm sorry, the orange cube is worth 5, and the clear cube is worth 1. And you're attempting to gain those by either attacking and defeating your opponent, or also by using, say, your mining platform. You notice how they can turn 2 production into 1 victory point. The game continues, each person taking their turns until you finally do run out of the steam that you're collecting. There are 30 steam available per player that is playing the game, so in a 2-player game there will be 60. Once you're out of those cubes, the game is over, and then you're going to total up your total number of points, and then you'll see who wins. To begin with, what each person is going to be taking control of a corporation, that they're going to have their own personal type of cards that are available to you. So if you're this Frontier Rail employee, you get 3 of these jetpack couriers and then 2 of these passenger stations. And then if you are a McGlynn Clockworks employee, you'll get 3 of these gumshoes, and you're going to get 2 of those Steamworks factories. And then the final faction that I've had to play around with is the Omni Edo Corp, which is this is their building, the sorting facility, and the unit, or the employee I should say, is the Omni Edo Corp employee corporate ninja. So just so you can kind of sense, these 2 rows, they look the same, but they aren't technically the same. This is the labor force, the employees, that is on this deck here, and this is the units and buildings, so the infrastructure, if you will, of the corporations in the below. And obviously the deck, the backs of the deck are going to look exactly the same. You don't want to be able to tell which card is coming up, obviously, be it a unit, a building, or an employee. So on your turn, you will have your basic deck of cards, which is this. It is 10 cards, and they'll either be clerks, which are employees that give you +1 labor, or they will have these union workers, which will give you +1 of this gear, like production, if you will. So if you've never played a deck builder, it's pretty simple. I'm just going to go ahead and shuffle up those 10 cards, and what you will do is you will draw the top 5. And on your turn, you're going to take those 5 cards and you're going to play them. And then at the beginning, it's going to be kind of dull because you're not going to have as many options available to you. So we got 3 labor, we got 2 of these gears, and so we go ahead and place those, and we reveal them on our turn to show what we have. And so we have 3 of the labor and 2 of the production, and you can see what you can purchase. So looking at the board, unfortunately the production is, we don't really have anything there that we can buy down in this row. Mostly because like the brass bank, whereas it looks pretty cool and it'd be pretty awesome because you gain a brass or each turn. It has 4 of those gears. We don't have enough for that. We have enough production, the hammer to get like Harlow's barracks, but we once again don't have enough of the gear over here because the cost is 2 and 4. So unfortunately we're not going to be able to use that for anything. So what we're going to end up doing is we're probably going to look and see what employee we want to purchase. And so we can kind of look over the different options, and so we can buy anything that costs 3 or less that's up there. So I kind of like this manager. He's just straightforward. He's got +2 labor on there, so we're going to go ahead and take that one. And then we're going to replace the card that we take and put that on there. And so this is Himiko Ito, which is kind of expensive, but +4, that's pretty awesome. And if you acquire a building this turn, you can add it to your hand, meaning it's something, the building that you could put down immediately. So you just go ahead and take those cards. You're going to put those in your discard pile, and then you're going to draw the remaining 5 cards into your hand like so, and you're going to wait for your opponent to do their turn. Now, alternatively, I should have mentioned, I just realized I had those 2 gears, remember the 2 production, that I couldn't use. I could use them on my mining platform to change those 2 into 1 and victory point. And so I can just go ahead and then take this 1 and I can put it over here to show that I've taken that 1 brass. And then my opponent would do the exact same thing that they did, and they would go through and they'd pick something. Then I would take my next cards, and I have this time I have 1, which isn't really going to do any good, but I do have 4 of those labor, which is actually pretty nice, and I can actually buy kind of a more expensive card. And so we'll take this one, where the Watch Keep Mimic allows me to copy the effect of another employee played this turn. That's pretty good power. I just can copy any of them. So I'll go ahead and put that in there. I will replace that card like so with the Chronograph Detective, and then I will go ahead and shuffle up my deck, and I will draw 5 more cards. So you should have a really good idea of how the game works. I mean, it's just a standard deck builder. So then I look at the 5 that I have. I'll wait for my next turn, and I'll do something at that point as well. Now, there are a couple of things that I didn't show you, basically because I don't have the units to fight or anything like that. So, if you purchase if you have a building, when you do have a building, you place it and play it. You will play it face down to show that you are building that building. It isn't built until your next turn, and when on your next turn, then you will flip it over, and then you will be able to then use the power of the building that is given to you. Remember that you can also, if you don't like anything that's out there to purchase, you do still have the option of going through and buying your own personal items as well. These are always going to be available to you. So on my turn, if I wanted to, I could have used my gears to purchase my Clockworks Factory if I really wanted to, or I could have purchased these gumshoes if I didn't want anything that's on the tableau. These are your own personal items, and obviously your opponent can't purchase those. Once a building is in place, it'll just work for you, and it'll be there for you until you choose to demolish it. Sometimes the buildings, if you tear them down, they'll do a special power for you. So like the Clockworks Factory, you can demolish the building to get a card. So you can just choose to do that, and you can draw another card. You'll notice that this has a health and little values down here as far as that goes. Buildings can be destroyed. by your opponent. If they attack a building or a unit of yours and they destroy it, they get a brass. The same goes for you. If you attack somebody and you destroy theirs, you get a brass as well. So combat is pretty simple. All it is comparing the attack value to the defensive value of both the attacker and the defender, and then you figure out who is killed. So, like, let me just grab a couple of units here. Let's just go ahead and grab this Vanguard Mercenary, and let me dig through. Well, actually, here, we'll just do this. Here. So, let's say, for example, like this Vanguard Mercenary, I had this, and I wanted to attack my opponent's copper rail yard. So we look down here, it has a defense of 2, and then I have an attack value of 2 and defense of 3. The attack of 2 defeats the defense of 2, and I would destroy that with the attack value, and I'd go ahead and claim, like for every building or unit you destroy, you get to claim a steam. Now, if I attacked something that actually could attack me back, I gotta find one that would be a good combination. So let's say in the same situation, I have my Vanguard Mercenary, and I do an attack, and I attack this Omni Samurai. So it has attack of 3 and a defense of 1. I have an attack of 2 and a defense of 3. My attack of 2 would go ahead and kill that because of the defense of 1, but the attack of 3 would defeat me, and so this would be kind of mutually assured destruction. And so both these would be defeated, and both players would get a steam for that combat. Now, if you ever do take damage and it isn't enough to defeat you, like say, like in the combat, I took a point of damage, or even 2, because I have a defense of 3, you go ahead and place little cubes on there to show that they're damaged. They do not heal automatically after your turn, so they do kind of sit out there, and they're kind of sitting ducks, and so you run that risk of having a wounded unit out there that will get attacked. Now, it should be noted that when you put a unit down at first, you should kind of turn it just a little bit to show that it has just been placed, because you can't attack with them when you play them until your next turn, and you write them, and then you'll be able to attack them. They can be attacked, however, so that's a very important thing. A lot of times in games where you place them and they can't do anything at first, they're unaffected. They can't be affected by the other players. But in this game, they can get attacked by your opponent, so you got to be careful not to just put something out there that's like free victory points for the other player. So, as I said, you will go ahead and keep playing this until you run out of the victory point tokens. When you do that, you will stop, and then you will figure out the total number of points. You'll add up all of the cubes that you have earned through combat. Oh, one other thing, I apologize. If, like say, you have your unit out and there's nothing for them to attack, you are allowed to convert the attack value of the unit into steam. So like they go out and they basically mine steam for you. So if I had my mercenary out there with attack value of 2, and he didn't have anything to attack, to try to kill, he could then just go ahead and use those to attack to just mine 2 points for me. That is a really cool thing, that basically it makes people have to attack. So if you just let somebody sit there and have like multiple units out there that have attack value, and they're just sitting there just churning up victory points, you have to attack them and destroy them to stop them from doing that. It kind of forces the two players to attack each other and be constantly at war, which I really like. Too many times you play games like this and people kind of try to turtle a little bit and just want to build up their deck. But in this case, you are going to be just destroying each other and at each other's throats, just because you don't want to let somebody else get those points. But anyway, so you total up all the points as far as the cubes you get, plus on the bottoms of these cards you will see there is a victory point total as well. So you total up, and so like there's, if I can get that focused, there's a 3, and so then you would total up all of the points of the cards in your decks, and then whoever has the most points wins the game of Steamcraft. It is very fast, it is very quick, and it is very brutal, and there's lots of things I like about this, but I'll talk about that in my conclusion. thanks for taking the time to watch the gameplay portion. I really appreciate that. Like as I said, if you've played deck building, this game is probably not going to be too much of a surprise for you as far as the mechanisms go. But there are things about Steamcraft that I really, really enjoy. The biggest thing is the quick setup time. And I know that seems like kind of a silly thing to say I really like about it, but I like in this, like, it has the whole process of the decks that you just take cards off the top that, like, Ascension has. You know, it's one of those things where it's like you just shuffle up those two decks, the labor deck and then the unit and building deck, and then just go. Each person has their own, like, little personal 5 cards. But other than that, everybody's just, you know, drawing cards off this big tableau that's in the middle of the board. And there is no, like, going through the process of, like, okay, you know, which 10 cards of the 70 different options that we have are we going to use in this particular game? Okay, get out my app. Let's figure this out, you know. So, you know, you kind of avoid that in its entirety. And so I do like that aspect. I like the whole idea that you do have, like, corporations and like kind of a themed corporation type situation, you know, and so each of the different corporations kind of has their own premise, if you will, and their own strategy, is depending on which cards you take. Yeah, I found it a little bit weird that, like, you were like, yes, I'm, like, representing, you know, the Green Corporation. I can't offhand the McGlynn Corporation, and then other people can hire them. But I guess, like, in a way that's, like, kind of like you know, corporate spies and things like that. That's the way I kind of thought about it. Because the fact that, you know, like, yes, they might be working for me, but, you know, they've bought them out and they're working behind the scenes against me and that sort of thing. So, yeah, and if this is this cutthroat, you know, steampunk corporate world, you know, that fits, if you will. You know, the best thing about this is that, you know, it isn't, I mean, obviously, I get the feeling that in the future, when we have more expansions and more stuff going on with it, it's going to become like a more developed game with a lot more options and a lot more things going on. But right now, this is that wonderful bare bones type of deck builder that I like. It's very straightforward. It's very confrontational, and there isn't, like, a bunch of like, fluff going on where it's like, okay, here's my card and +1 and +2 and this, and draw these 3 cards and then shorten this and make sure I, you know, trash these worthless cards and use this. It's one of those things where you know, it's right now it's very short and brutal and fun, you know, and emphasis on the fun of the game. This game seems to have been streamlined totally towards, like, the processing of gaining points right away, quickly, and efficiently, because of the fact that every turn you're going to be gaining points, and there is this kind of wonderful frenetic pace, and the feeling that, like, if you're spending time just, like, kind of building your deck and building what you have, you're going to get left behind really, really quick. Because of the fact that other people, while you're sitting there trying to, like, fine-tune your deck and make sure you have this card and that card that works really well with that card, everybody else has already got 6-7 points because they've been, like, just grinding it out already while you've been trying to, you know, bide your time, if you will. So I like that about it. So quick setup time, really great theme, really cool art, and the fact that, like I said, it is, like, doesn't take a long. I quote Scott Nicholson a lot, but the game does not take a long time to get to the fun, and I appreciate that about it a great deal. Plus, because of the fact that this is kind of like, I know, like I said, expansions and what have you, the game's probably going to get more complex, but right now this is exactly the type of game, exactly the type of deck building game that I've sprung on my daughter, who is 8. And she grasps this. She understands it, and because it's math, and that's good. I'm teaching her math and teaching her concepts of math, but also it's like, it's not beyond her. You know, it isn't like one of those things where, you know, I've already figured out this, like, 7-card combo that'll work perfectly. No, I don't need that. She doesn't need that. You know, she just needs to figure out to get enough labor, you know, resource, so she can take that really, really awesome ninja that's going to, like, attack me and blow up my buildings on her turn. So which she's done. But anyway, so there you go. That is Steamcraft. It's a heck of a lot of fun. I urge you to check it out. If you have any questions about the game, please let me know, and I'll answer those to the best of my ability. As always, I greatly appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And until next time, I am the Undead Viking, and I am telling you to have yourself one heck of an awesome day. All right, bye-bye now.